a show to help you develop and grow your brand in a more authentic and sustainable way, locally and globally. Whether it is your personal brand or company brand, your product or service level brand. You learn from thought leaders from different parts of the world, from CEOs, business owners, managers, and experts who tell their brand stories and share their valuable first-hand insights. My name is Brigitte Bojkowszky. Everyone calls me Bridget. I'm the founder and owner of BridgetBrands, a branding strategy boutique. I help my clients craft meaningful strategies that elevate their brands to unleash their full potential to shine. Let's get started and dive with me into the world of brands. I'm excited to have Jennifer Hocutt on my show today. She's a career strategist, leadership development trainer, and motivational butt kicker. Jennifer is helping people achieve their career goals, one resume, career strategy, and development training at a time. Let me tell you a little bit about Jennifer. As a career strategist, Jennifer identifies problems. Often clients are too close to the problem to see a solution. Filling the areas of expertise that are lacking to avoid costly pitfalls is what she does best. She is a catalyst for change and an objective onlooker. She provides a fresh, objective viewpoint and then delivers positive and impactful results. As a corporate trainer, Jennifer brings new life to individuals and organizations and leverages leadership. She often is retained as an idea starter and innovative thinker. Jennifer possesses the ability to see the forest through the trees. Thereby, she adds enormous value in charting a new path to securing ultimate success. Jennifer teaches and does that dirty work. Equipped with special skills and expertise, she provides development and training while implementing a solid growth strategy. So, to wrap it up, Jennifer helps professionals who are overwhelmed, frustrated, struggling, and feeling defeated in their careers by increasing their confidence and strengthening their skills so they enhance their value, grow their wealth, and expand their opportunities. She literally rescues clients from professional isolation, whether it's guiding them in implementing a winning career job search strategy or providing professional development training to aid in the success of company goals. They need a competitive edge. That's where Jennifer comes in and helps. She is the competitive edge. I warmly welcome Jennifer Hocutt. Welcome to BrandsTalk.
Yay! Hey there.
Hey there, Jennifer. It's so good to see you.
Oh my goodness, that was amazing. You pumped me up so good. Like, I want to meet this person.
Oh my goodness.
This Jennifer sounds amazing.
She is
Thank you.
amazing. She is amazing. And I was wondering, oh my God, this woman is unbelievable. And I'm so glad we met early this year. And within the last several months, we just became such dear friends and business besties, right?
Business besties all the way. Yes, for sure. It has been an honor. You stepped into my world and I've been grateful ever since. You are just sunshine in my life.
I also feel so privileged and yeah, going part of our journeys together. So, Jennifer, could you tell us a little bit about your background, about your personal journey that brought you right there where you are now?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm not a spring chicken, so I'll just keep it short and sweet. I worked in the healthcare industry for almost 2 decades. And so I was a senior executive leader. I worked my way up. I literally started at the front desk. So for those of you that are thinking you're in a dead end job, starting at the bottom, listen, we all have to start somewhere. And I worked my way up to senior leadership and eventually running regional teams across multiple states. So very successful career, but definitely knew that I was meant for more. So I shifted and pivoted in my 40s. Yes, it's possible to rewrite a new chapter at that age. And I started JHocutt Group so that I could help other people achieve the success that they desire, whether it's in their personal careers or organizations looking to leverage their leadership.
Okay, wonderful. So let's stay right there. So you basically shifted from being a corporate into solopreneurship, starting your own company in 2018 with Jennifer Hocutt Group. So,
Yeah.
what made you start your own business? What made you become your own boss? What was the initial trigger to do so?
So it was kind of something I honestly fell in. I was doing this side hustle thing for so long. It started with I was working in healthcare and people were coming to me. They wanted their resumes done. And so they were asking for advisement. My boss honestly put me forward for that. It's a funny story. She was getting ready to actually terminate somebody that we worked with. And she told them you should go talk to Jennifer about revamping your resume. It just wasn't working out. It was not, it wasn't working out for her. It wasn't working out for the company. And that person came to me and said, "Hey, can you look at my resume? She told me to come talk to you about it." I was like, okay. So I looked it over and it just went from there. I helped her write her resume and then I started helping other people write their resumes. And when I moved into leadership and moved up the career ladder, um, I started helping other businesses just leverage their leadership, small practices, individually owned entities that were really, they couldn't afford the big consulting groups, but they wanted somebody to come in and help leverage their leadership, motivate, talk about an employee engagement, talk about crucial conversations. And so I honestly just did that out of the kindness of my heart because I wanted other people to be successful. And it just grew over time. All of my friends and families, colleagues, people that I would meet along the way would ask me to help them out in that capacity. And I love doing it. And when things started to shift in my career, healthcare turned into a corporate environment. I started when it was the doctors owned their own practices, and one or two of them got together and served patients. And then it went to a corporate environment. And I was never a corporate girl. That was never something I envisioned for myself. So I knew that wasn't who I was, but it's where my industry was going and I had to get on that train. It was going without me. So I knew that wasn't my place, but I tried to find my way. And eventually I just knew this just is not for me. And I had to do something different. And all along the way over the years, people would say, "You should really do this full time. You should be helping people full time." And I was like, nah, they don't know what they're talking about. But when it came down to it, I thought, maybe they're onto something. Maybe they know something I don't. And then it started from there, and I started planning my exit strategy to leave my corporate career forever.
Yeah, so this helping other people, is this your big why? And I would say, yeah, big why. And what is actually the purpose behind what you're doing? And can you connect that with a vision that you have in mind that you're striving for? And one more thing, what are the underlying values that you live by to reach your vision and make, you know, um, this dream come through?
Ah, you're such a good interviewer. Those are some really good questions. Okay, so the first thing, my why, is definitely I have always loved helping people succeed. Whether it's my patients, the patients that would come into our practices, identifying their challenging diagnosis and working through that. Helping them be successful in that area, success in their health, helping my teams become successful in what they wanted to do, whether they wanted to stay under my leadership or go do something else. I just wanted them to be successful. I think the goal for everybody in life should be happiness. That should be the number one goal always, is happiness. And so when you feel successful and you know that you're doing something that you love and living out your purpose, happiness comes with that. It's definitely an inside job that you have complete control over. So when you can leverage that and dive into that, I was so honored to be a stepping stone in that process for people. So, leading my teams, I led them to success. I motivated them to execute on certain goals to achieve success for the company and for themselves. And that has been my why all along, is to just help people achieve their goals and live their best life, whatever that looks like. Success looks different for every single person. Every single one of my clients, success is different for them. But we plan that out and chart that together. When clients come to me, they're desperate, frustrated, overwhelmed, and they just don't know where to turn next. They just want answers. And I can come alongside them and say, this is what you need to do next. I help them identify their value proposition and show up in full confidence so that they never settle and they can go after those dreams successfully. When clients stay in touch with me, that is my biggest why, because they know that I really care about their success beyond just getting the job or moving forward in their career. I have people reach out to me all the time to just give me career updates. I'm one of the first people that they reach out to let me know they've been promoted or they've done something different or they've achieved their goals. And that is just the most, you just couldn't pay me enough money for that. It is just so heartwarming. It is the best feedback that I can ever get. And I love being a part of these people's lives. I love helping them change their lives for the better. It's just amazing that I can even be that resource for them.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Um, yeah, so that's my why. That is definitely my why, helping others be successful.
Yeah, and I think people that come to you, it's also very often the confidence they lack and do not see their worth they can offer, the value they have and bring to the table to the company, right? So who are exactly your customers, the clients? Can you give us a profile of your ideal client and what you exactly offer to them?
Yeah. So I typically work with people who are in their mid to late stages of their careers. I even work with retirees who are planning out their second career path. But most of them come to me when they're in a career transition. They're wanting to do something different, whether it's something they decided for themselves. They want to just change industries, change what they do. Something has shifted in their personal life. And so their idea of success or their career journey has changed, or they've been thrown into something that wasn't decided. They didn't get to decide for themselves, whether they've lost a job due to organizational restructuring or, personal reasons. So I help people navigate through all of that. With the pandemic, it has been huge. So many people have shifted their story of success. They've wanted to take their career in different directions. And I help them navigate that successfully without sleepless nights and as little tears as possible. So I say I rescue people from professional isolation because when you're in a job that is just soul crushing, it is so isolating. You talk to your friends, you talk to your family, you talk to your colleagues, but it's just not the same as having that objective opinion to come alongside and say, listen, this is what you need to do next to set yourself up for success. I am very much a motivational butt kicker, meaning I'll tell you when you're selling yourself short. I will tell you when you should be reaching for higher jobs and going after bigger titles, or when you're just totally on the wrong path. I'm going to let you know. I let my clients know we have very crucial conversations. I'm very honest because at the end of the day, I want them to get to where they're going and where they want to be as quickly as possible. Sugarcoating it doesn't help that process.
No.
So I tell them I'm honest. I'm a very honest person, but then I also motivate them to take action because you'll never get anywhere if you don't put action behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're doing mostly one-on-one work, or how does that look like?
So I am doing one-on-one work. I work with individuals. So here's something a little different about me. I broke up with resumes a long time ago. I used to write resumes for people and I would do it for them, just like any other resume writer, and give it back to them and they would go and put it out into the world. But what I realized is I'm not setting clients up for success because I wrote their career story. Who better knows your own story, whether personal or professional, but you?
Mm.
So while I was writing it, it wasn't in the voice and I wasn't really nailing down what they effectively did. I couldn't convey their accomplishments as well as they could. So I decided that I'm breaking up with resumes, and instead of writing them for people, I'm writing them with people. So I have a resume intensive, which is one of my more popular programs, I have two ways to work with individuals. And my resume intensive is just you show up on a 90-minute Zoom call and we go top to bottom through your resume. I video record it and I give it to individuals along with a bunch of, support files to help them. But we tear apart the resume and completely put it back together. People then go watch the video, take my advice and guidance, implement it. They give it back to me. I give a personal short video review of feedback as to where they're at, what's working, what's not working. They put that back together and they go and put it out into the world. What I've noticed the most with that type of process in them learning how to write their resume is, one, they're not dependent on anybody ever again to write their resume. If they decide they don't have time and they want to seek outside help to do that, fine. But at least they know that if it's not a good product that they're getting back, they can successfully identify that on their own because they know what they're looking at. So many times I had people have professional resume writers come and write their resume and they send it out and it's crickets. And they've lost that opportunity, because here's the truth bomb. You only get one time to apply to a job. So one chance to make a really good impression. And when that's lost on a poor resume, you can't get that time back. So at least they'll be equipped with the knowledge and the education to know what's a good resume and what's not. But then they can do it themselves and it's in their own language and in their own voice. More importantly, they can look at their resume and be like, whoa, I really am something special. I'm a big deal. You show up differently to interviews when you know your value proposition, when you know you've put this together on a piece of paper and this is all your awesomeness and greatness. My clients soar. They're more apt to negotiate higher salaries. They're less inclined to take positions that are not a good fit for them. They don't come from a place of desperation and overwhelm. They come from a place of motivation and empowerment. And it is life-changing for them.
Yeah, that's great. Beautiful. And this is one way of how you help your clients, and there is going to be another way how you're going
Yeah.
to do. So you're also launching your online course, Resume Rework Roadmap. It's a course that also helps participants to transform their resume from outdated to outstanding. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, so I'm so excited. So working one-on-one, I'm one person. I cannot reach all the masses, but I have so many people coming to me, and I don't want to get into a situation where there's a wait list to work with me, because people who need their resumes done typically need them done yesterday. So I never want people to wait, but I can only serve so many people at a time. And I decided to pivot and shift and take the resume intensive, but put it in a format where it can be reach more than just one-on-one. So it's one to many. So I created this course, I put it together, and it's not like any other course out there that teaches you how to write your resume. It definitely is step by step, action by action. But there's also a private community that is separate where I go live every single week for live Q&A sessions where you can submit your question ahead of time and I will read it and answer it out loud in real time. And I'm also conducting hot seats. So as people get the content and work through and put their resumes together, they can then apply to come live and do a hot seat where I will go through their resume, a one-on-one intensive, so that everybody can learn together. Also, there's a very supportive community. Individuals that are in the same space, creating their resume, going through a career transition, finding their way. It's a private community, so there's no worry that your current employer or anybody else will know that you're putting your resume together, but able to come together for accountability and support. So I'm really excited about it because I can still give that high level support of working alongside people and supporting them and answering their questions and guiding them. But I can also give them the opportunity for community and networking, accountability and support that I wouldn't necessarily be able to do just as one individual. And I'll be able to reach way more people and help them be successful, which is really exciting.
Yes, an online course is a fantastic way to scale your business to the next level and reach many more people to help them with. So, in that sense, as you're an expert in resume writing, could you give us the three most important resume writing tips everyone should know and embrace?
Yes, absolutely. So, the top 3 that come to mind are, the first thing you wanna make sure is that you are making it accomplishment focused. So, the biggest mistake I see people make are they talk about the responsibilities, what they do every single day. I come in, I turn on the lights, I answer the phones. What you wanna talk about, you wanna dive into is how did you answer those phones? Anybody can answer a phone, but how did you do it? What makes you special? Did you present the company in a way that they had a more responsive system? Were you able to successfully triage those calls to the right people without dropping them on the line? Those are accomplishments, right? Those are the things that you want to speak to and target, because that's what makes you special. Anybody can answer the phone, but the 250 other people who may be applying for the same job who answer phones, they do it differently. So talk about your accomplishments, make your resume accomplishment focused, and target that in the top 2 to 3 bullet points of every single job that you have had. So accomplishment first, and then fill in with the responsibilities. The next thing you want to do is you want to have an updated format. So many of my clients come to me and say, I haven't done my resume in 20 years. The formats have changed greatly. And it's a lot of white space, easy to scan, because the statistic is a human reviewer spends 7.5 seconds reviewing a resume, and they just really scan it. That's not reading. Now, eventually, they will probably go back and read it. But when they're having all of these applicants apply for, there's anywhere from 250 to 400 applicants for every one position. And if a leader, a hiring official, has more than one position that they're hiring for, they cannot read through every single resume. So what they're doing is they're scanning them. So you want to make sure that it's scan friendly. You're hitting and targeting the robust language and the high points first. And then you are putting it in a format that also stands out, that really draws the eye and keeps the attention of the reader, but is not congested and too overwhelming. So I know that's a tightrope, right? That's like so much in there, but that's what I help clients work through. And then the third thing is you also want to keep it simple.
Mm.
So people will put graphs and charts and different colors and fancy fonts and pictures. That's all well and good to help you stand out from the masses and make your resume part of your personality. But here's the thing you want to keep in mind. You're going on an interview and you want to make a good impression, but your resume is just a tool. It is a tool to help you get the interviews, to secure the interview and the next process in the hiring process. So you want to move to that next step. It's just a tool. You are the asset. You are the asset that is going to win you that job offer. Nobody has been hired off of their resume. I wish it was that simple. I wish people would read your resume and be like, Bridget, you are hired, girl. You're fantastic. We need you. But they make you jump through several hoops. The resume is the tool to get you the interview. When you get the interview, you will expand upon your talents, your skills, your experience. And that's when you can interject your own personality and they can really see who you are as an individual. You don't need to do all this other stuff on your resume that just really makes it hard to read and really decipher, and also affects that easy scannability friendly type of process that so many human reviewers implement. So those are the 3 tips that I would suggest. Keep it simple, be concise, make it achievement focused, and definitely make sure that you are utilizing an updated format, because you don't want to date yourself either, right? You don't want somebody to look at your resume and be like, this person's in their 50s.
Fantastic and so helpful. Thank you so much for these tips. And on the other side, what are some don'ts that should absolutely be avoided when writing a resume? Are there any?
Okay, so a couple of don'ts. So I would say the top three things that I see that I would advise clients against are leaving off dates. So people sometimes will have gaps in their employment, and so they will leave off dates. That is a red flag. When you're not including a date, people tend to ask why, and they don't have you in front of them to dive deeper. So that can be an immediate red flag. And I know a lot of people who, if you don't have the dates listed, your resume is just going to get trashed. They don't even care how much experience you have. So you need to include the dates. And there's a strategic approach to talking about and identifying overcoming that hurdle of gaps that I help clients work through, but you definitely have to put the dates. Um, the second thing is, the biggest thing is, don't throw your resume, don't create one resume and just throw it out to like 50 to 80 jobs every single day. You have to optimize your resume specifically for the role in which you're applying. That doesn't mean rewriting your resume every single time, but it definitely means targeting those keywords and tailoring your resume to for that particular position. And then the third don't is, don't send it out without having someone look at it. So while things may make sense when you're structuring your resume, you really need to have several other sets of eyes review your resume, whether it's a professional or just a colleague or a friend, somebody that you trust, a mentor. Have them review it and have multiple, at least 3 different people review your resume. Don't tell them anything about it. Just give them your resume and ask them to read through it and highlight it and really get honest feedback. You may not recognize grammatical errors. What makes sense to you may not make sense to the reader. And these are things that only a third party can identify for you. So go through, Grammarly and Word, they don't always catch all the misspellings and the grammatical errors. That's a big one. So make sure that you have somebody outside that you know and trust take a look at your resume.
Thank you so much. All the listeners will be just excited to get all the tips that you have. And yeah, and I think if they need more, I think they're gonna call you up or write you an email. So, with what you're doing, Jennifer, you are a leadership development trainer, you are a resume advisor, you have your own Facebook group. It's called Goals and Grit. You are a LinkedIn broadcaster, and so on. So, you have become a thought leader and influencer. And thereby, you also have become a strong personal brand. Absolutely. So, what is or makes an authentic personal brand in your opinion, Jennifer?
Oh, this is such a good question. So I don't get to talk about brands much. I'm always in the resume leadership world. So this is why I love this conversation, because I don't get to talk about my brand, which I put a lot of thought into that people wouldn't really maybe identify right away. What makes an authentic brand is when you're showing up in complete integrity.
Mm,
So a lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of people will put their brands forward as to what they think people want to hear or what will appeal to the masses. And it's not really who they are as an individual or a company. So I think showing up in full integrity, maybe not always having the popular opinion, maybe not always taking the side of what other people would expect or want, but standing in front of your integrity and authenticity and saying, this is where I'm coming from. These are my thoughts. This is what I believe to be true for me.
mm,
And knowing that that will help you be successful. So oftentimes companies will take the side of what people expect of them and not really what they believe to be right and true. Eventually that comes to shake out.
mm.
People will then say, well, you put that out there, but internally that's not what you're practicing. And that leads to being inauthentic.
Absolutely.
So you need to show up in integrity. People may not agree. There will be people who will say, there'll be other professional resume writers that will say, I don't agree with what Jennifer says. That's okay. This helps you sort out who is your ideal customer or client and who is not. I work alongside a colleague. I respect her a lot. We work in the same space. She approaches clients way differently. She's very sweet, very kind. Not to say that I'm not, but I am definitely an ambitious go-getter, and I want to get from A to Z as quickly as possible, as painless as possible. And she is more of on the emotional side, and she does a lot of mindset work. It's just different. She shows up for her clients completely different than how I do. I refer to her. Even clients who come to me, I will refer to her because I know that she may be a better fit to what they need. I can't serve everybody. I cannot. There has to be multiples of people in the career strategy, professional development arena because I'm just one person. I can't serve everybody. So not everybody is my client. But when I show up in my integrity and I stand for what I believe in, whether that resonates for you or not, it will help you decide the right person to work with. And above all else, whether it's me or someone else, I want the person to be with the right entity, with the right brand, with the right company. So that's important. So I think that's what comes to my mind first.
That's beautiful. And I would like to go a little bit deeper into that. You have written a LinkedIn article the other day and published it. It's called Remaining True to Yourself, Remaining True to Your Leadership Values. And you gave a hint. If you want to clearly identify who the butt kissers are in the company, listen to how their vocabulary begins to mirror that of senior leadership. So, can you elaborate on that specific hint a little bit?
Absolutely. So one of the things I found in my leadership career was it wasn't popular to go up against leaders and senior leaders in certain capacities. A lot of times our C-suite want yes people. They just want people to tell them that they're right, and they just want to always be the smartest person in the room, and they want people to just back them up. I don't think that that serves people well. I know for me, I always wanted to surround myself with smarter people who were willing to stand up and be like, hey, time out. This is not where we should be going. Or, hey, that conversation didn't go well. You need to pull back on that next time. It helped me become a better person, a better leader. And that's what's important. I knew I didn't have all the answers. Nobody has all the answers. So it's important to surround yourself with individuals who will come alongside you and say, listen, and not publicly shame you by no means in the middle of a meeting saying, hey, listen, you're being a real jerk. No, but pull you aside later and say, I don't think that went so well. And here's some feedback that I think you would benefit from.
Mhm.
I wrote that article and it got a lot of traction out there because um, I had a lot of butt kissers when I would work in my corporate entity. The healthcare industry is female led on the clinical aspect of things, nurses, and there's a lot of female doctors. But in the administrative operational side, it's male dominated. So I would see this boys' club take place in senior leadership. The men would get promoted to the C suite, and then you would have a couple of women there, but not many, right? And along the way, I noticed that when we would get a new CEO or senior leadership position turnover and somebody new in the role, I would see certain individuals start mimicking the vocabulary and the nuances of the person in the role. So here's a psychological kind of aspect. People gravitate to people who they think understand them or get them, or have like-minded mindsets, right? We kind of gravitate to people who share our thoughts and values and opinions. And I noticed that they would align with these individuals who spoke like them, mimicked their mannerisms, and kind of mirrored what they were doing. Lo and behold, these would be the individuals who got promoted much quicker than me coming in and kind of raising a red flag or giving feedback or giving pushback, as so many times they would tell me on different things. I wouldn't mirror who they were because that's not me. I'm my own person. They are their own person. So if you want to know who people are in your organization who are just looking to get to the next level, to get to the next compensation, the next title, these are the individuals who you really don't know who they are because in front of certain people, they just start mirroring and mimicking those individuals who are in positions of power and leadership that they think can get them somewhere.
Wow, great. Yeah, Jennifer. A little bit about your career, the journey that you took, and I'm sure on this journey you also had some, let's say, some obstacles that were major learning for you, some setbacks that were important for you growing from it going forward, and in hindsight offered a huge opportunity to grow. So, would you like to share any of these detours that were significant in the way they shaped you to that what you are now?
Yeah, so I love this question. I find it so interesting. And there were a lot of things that happened along the way. Being a female in leadership is not easy. And you know that it's just different. And, a lot of times people just don't understand how difficult that can be. I didn't necessarily understand how difficult that was going to be. But I quickly learned along the way that being a female, I had to prove myself more than maybe my male counterparts. Their degrees, their experiences, their titles, they spoke on their own and they stood on their own, and nobody questioned that. When I showed up, it was kind of different. It was a different conversation. I always felt like I had to prepare more for meetings.
Mhm.
I had to make sure that I would had opportunities to speak and be heard. I had to, kind of make my space and find my space in the room. And I always felt like when I was showing up at the leadership table that I had to constantly re-earn my place there.
Yeah.
It was very discouraging and demotivating and disempowering. And one instance in particular, I was at we had these monthly meetings with all of the senior leaders at the hospitals around, the presidents of the hospitals that fell underneath our corporation. And we had a monthly meeting, monthly executive meeting. And the first time that I showed up to this meeting, one of my male counterparts was found a seat at the table, and I went over and claimed the seat next to him, and he said, "Oh no, sweetie, you just grab one of the chairs on the outside of the rooms. We're other people sit at this table." First of all, I'm no one's sweetie. Second, I was in an equal position to him. So, and an equal position to a lot of the other male counterparts that were showing up to the table and filing in for that meeting. It seemed like a lifetime, but it was a very quick time frame. I just looked at him and I thought in my mind, how am I going to react here? What am I going to do? There's a lot of people in this room. I'm pretty new to this organization. What do I do? I just decided I said, okay, thank you for that information. It's good to know. I quietly packed up my stuff and I left the room. I then went to my executive assistant and I told her, I would like you to contact his executive assistant and tell him to get on my calendar. I'd like to have a conversation with them. So he called me and said, what is this? I need to make an appointment to get on your calendar. You can come see me. I said, no, your executive assistant can contact mine and you can come to my office and talk to me. He did. And long story short, I took the opportunity to educate him. I told him my education, my experience, my skills. A lot of people said, well, why would you do that? Why would you have to prove yourself? Here's the thing. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I brought to his attention that how I felt, how I perceived that conversation, and that I deserve a place at the table. I earned my place at that table a long time ago. I don't have to earn it now. And in that thread, I told him, if I am not going to sit and be welcomed at that table, I will not be attending that meeting. After that, we developed such a strong bond. He had so much more respect for me. And he thanked me for bringing that forward to him. He didn't realize that that's how that was being perceived. And he didn't realize that that's how he was treating people. And so when I ended up leaving that position, he was my biggest advocate, my strongest support, and we keep in touch to this day.
Yeah.
But it's things like that. It's those stories, and there's just so many more. And I know everybody has those stories. that really was the catalyst that I meant for more. Honestly, Bridget, I just got tired of proving myself.
Yeah.
I just got tired of having the same conversations of why I deserve to be at the table, why I am in the position that I am in, how I got there, and constantly reiterating that I deserve it, that I earn it. I just felt like every day I had to show up and prove that I was worthy of where I was. And it just got overwhelming and tiring. And I just got tired of it. I wanted to do something else. And I knew I was meant for more, and I knew I could be more impactful in greater ways if I was just move on to something else.
Yeah, and the something else is your own company. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
very often the way out. The way out is going to leap forward and do your own thing, be courageous, and yeah, walk it, do it, take action. And when it comes to your own company, I mean, you are the face of your company, and you also named your company after your name. Yeah? Jennifer Hocutt Group. Is there a naming story behind?
Yeah, so I just decided that so I chose JHocutt because I didn't want to lead with, oh, it's a female. When I early on went into my company, I was still coming off the corporate mindset of being a female was a detriment. So I didn't want to call out right away that, oh, it's Jennifer, this is a girl. So I kind of wanted to go in with having people come to the table and visit my website and learn more about me as just a non-identifiable entity, right? J could be anything. It could be Jason, it could be Jennifer. So, coming from that mindset of being more open minded instead of just prejudging on the gender, but I also wanted to make sure that it was a group because although I definitely started with myself and I currently don't have any full time employees, but I do have teams of people that I work with and contract out services that really help me run my business. I always wanted it to be inclusive. Whether you're a client, whether you are a referral partner, whether you are, somebody who is employed, we're a group, we're a team, and we work together. And although it is me, I am the J in JHocutt, we are a group, we are a team, and we are a community. We're a community helping people reach their success. So I definitely wanted to make sure that it was a group. But coming from the consulting world, many of the big consultants, the McKinseys, the Price Waterhouse Coopers, they use their own names, right? And so that's typically how they show up in the consultancy arena.
Mm.
So I wanted to follow suit so it's not, anything fluffy or off track. And I am the face of my business. I am the face of my company, but also being able to have other people join and grow the company, and also know that they have a place and they are fully represented in the title of the company.
Okay, that's beautiful. Good. Do you have any other? I mean, this is a kind of a branding advice too. Do you have any other key branding advice essentials for the audience to take away when it comes to setting up your own business, being your own boss, and yeah, shining as a strong personal brand? Is there anything that you want to share?
So the first thing is you may not get it right outside the gate. The first logo, the first title, the first colors, it may not be where your company's always going to be. And that's okay. Don't put so much pressure on getting it all nailed down and right at the beginning. How many companies have we seen change their logo and their branding over the years? It can be an expensive expense. However, Amazon didn't start out with the little smiley face, right? They changed their font, they changed their logo, they changed what they stood for. As your as your company grows, your brand may grow too. So don't put so much time and stress and effort on this is going to be my forever. But I would also say do research. Research what stands out and resonates. Colors matter. Colors convey a certain feeling, emotion, mindset. So I would research some colors and identify like what fully represents you, but also brings about the emotions and calls in your ideal client that you're kind of looking for. Colors really do matter. Your logo. People, the one thing I see people do is they go crazy with their logo and they'll hire professionals and spend so much money on their logo. You know who created my logo? My 17-year-old son. So he went in and he created my logo. I had a vision. I wanted the J and the H to become one, to be together. And I had this vision. My 17-year-old son made it come to life. So he put it together. He used a particular font, and that's been my logo. The representation behind that is you can combine things and have it be very simple and very impactful. And I wanted the J and the H to come together because there's synergy there. And with your professional career and your personal life, there is synergy. It should matter. What you do during the day is not who you are, but you do deserve to be happy there. You deserve to be the CEO of your career. And so I wanted to show that in my logo. So there's meaning behind that. For my color, I chose the Tiffany blue because, well, I'm a fan of Tiffany. My husband can attest to that. I am a fan of Tiffany, but the color represents, it's a level of classiness. So, and integrity and professionalism. There's a lot of things behind that, but it's also simple. Green represents abundance, and I want people to have abundance in their success. The blue is calming. People come to me stressed out and overwhelmed. And so I wanted that to be like a calming factor. But I also wanted it to be, a stay true brand, something that lasts over a lifetime, something that you can start here and take with you into the future. And that's how your career should be.
I love the way of how you approach a logo, because really every logo that is out there usually has a story. There is meaning attached to it, different perspectives that come into. And when it comes to logo, it's also something that shows or should remain over time. Yeah, I mean, of course, we evolve and we change over time, but it's something that also shows consistency of a company. Yeah, so do not change
Agree.
too often. Yeah. So once you go with it for a time. Yeah. And then
Yes.
only after a time, like the big brands, when we think about Kellogg's, or when we think about Coca-Cola or Procter and Gamble, they twist it a little bit, so to stay current with the zeitgeist. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I really love the way of how you explain your logo. It's great, and I love that your son has really come up with. Good. So, is there any new project in the pipeline that you want to share with us now that you're working?
So my course, the resume rework roadmap is going to be out there and available. And so I'm really excited to transition that resume intensive and put it out to the masses to serve more people, especially right now. Right now is the time when the job market is very competitive, but very promising. Companies are trying to get these roles filled before the end of the year, before they have to start a new budget, before their budgets may get cut or they pulled back. They want to put people in these roles before the end of the year. So this is traditionally a very popular time and a really highly successful time to start looking for other positions and being open to other opportunities. So I have the resume rework roadmap, which helps people write their resumes. It educates you on how to write a stellar, outstanding, results-driven resume, and knowledge that you can take with you forever. So I'm super excited to have that out there. And then the other way that I work with people is through my career strategy program, which has been highly successful. It's 6 weeks. And there's a video and there's a success files that come, and it's week by week. We focus on one topic at a time to help you narrate your career story forward and define your career journey so that you can get to the goal line in your career. So that's been really successful, and I look forward to continuing that with clients. But I know, Bridget, you have your course coming out, which is really exciting. I mean, it's a lot of work with a course. I know people don't always understand what goes into a course. It is a lot of work. Bridget and I have been accountability buddies on this journey and this process. We have cried the tears, my people. We have
Oh,
cried the tears together.
it's so much hard work. And when you do it the first time, I mean, it doesn't matter how long you have been teaching. I've been teaching for 20 years. But doing your own course and getting it out there is a completely different story than teaching it at a university where you just walk in and you teach your course. You cannot compare that. Yeah.
No, you really cannot. And I think the thing with us, why we resonate so well together, is we always want to show up in our greatest power. We don't want to be those people who throw something out there and say, I'll improve it as I go along. We want to show up in our highest power because we understand that people are entrusting our knowledge and our expertise, and we want them to get the successful results right out the gate. Of course, we'll tweak it, we will improve it over time, and people will have access to that. But we are very invested in the success of our clients and the people that we serve. And I know that's why I especially love you. Bridget has totally been there for me. She's helped me look at my brand in a completely different mindset and in a different way. And you've just empowered and inspired me in so many ways. And I'm so grateful to you for that. I could not have gotten to where I am in my course journey if I did not have you in my corner rooting for me. The success of my course will be largely on the shoulders of your support.
I can only say that in the same way to you, because without you, I wouldn't be here where I am now. And I thank you very much. Yeah, I have that. I'm very grateful and thankful that we have met, Jennifer. Yeah, before we come to the end of our show, I also want to do a quick word wrap with you, Jennifer. Are you to give me quick and short answers?
I
Okay.
am. I really am. I'm down for it.
So, resume,
Career story.
butt kicker,
Ooh. Tough love cheerleader.
quotes. I know
Oh,
I like quotes.
I'm a quote junkie. I'm a quote junkie. I would say inspiration and perspective.
Okay. Leadership,
Leadership. The beacon forward for others.
good. Career,
Career. It's what you do, not who you are.
oh, that's so beautiful. I think that's gonna be a I can use that as a quote. And brand.
Brand. Oh, brand. Okay. I would say impactful, and representation.
Great. Good, Jennifer. For listeners who would like to find out more about you and about the course that is out there, where can they find you? I mean, we put it into the comments of our life, and it's going to be also in the podcast show notes. But are there any other, like, let's say, social media handles or website that you're
Yeah, so you can always connect with me on LinkedIn, Jennifer Hocutt. There's not a lot of Hocuts out there. That's not a real popular name. But I would love to connect on LinkedIn. That's where I'm at mainly. And I share different information and value there. So definitely on LinkedIn, Jennifer Hocutt, look me up, connect. I would love to connect with you. But you can also visit my website. There's a lot of great resources there. And there's all the information you need to identify how to work with me. I put my prices, everything. I put everything out there. So you can go to JHocuttGroup.com and look around. You can find out more about me, and there's an opportunity that you can connect with me there as well.
wonderful. Jennifer, thank you so much for being my guest today on Brands Talk. It really was a pleasure and delight having you here, sharing your wisdom on how to achieve a competitive edge as a personal brand, as you being a career strategist, leadership development trainer, motivational butt kicker, and so on and so on. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you.
Ah, thank you. I appreciate it. It was an honor.
Great. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Yeah. So thanks to all for joining Brands Talk today. It was, yeah, a blast with Jennifer. And I also welcome your precious feedback. So please leave your comments and drop me an email. You can also listen to this show as a podcast on your go. Just follow Brands Talk on your favorite platform. If you're interested in learning more about my services, head over to my website, BridgetBrands.com. Or if you're curious about my personal branding course that is coming up soon, click on the link in the comments below. You will also find a link on my Bridget Brands website. If you will, yeah, I hope you will join me again when we dive into the world of brands life or by having me in your earbuds walking the talk. Bye for now. Let's shine. You deserve it.